quick second. Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Kalayam La Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem HaKakodash, Bashem HaKakodash, and the honest the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who do rule and teach well. Shema Shawan Ban Yehoda, and today I would like to talk about the book of Isaiah, the first chapter. So this is Halley's Bible handbook, called the Messianic Prophet because he was so thoroughly imbued with the idea that his nation was to be a Messianic nation to the world, that is, a nation through whom one day a great and powerful blessing would come from God to all nations, which is really from us. We'll talk about us because we're the people going to get blessed and have the new bodies. The kingdom is going to be for us. Just look at Revelation, the 7th chapter, Matthew 1 and 21. Oh, dude, so many, man. Isaiah 14, like the first verse and things like that. It's all talking about us. It's all for us, man. We're the people that's been suffering throughout history. We're the people that were getting fucked up. It's about us and it's for us because we actually need it. Alright, so he was continually dreaming of the day when that great and wonderful work would become. The New Testament says that Isaiah saw the glory of Christ and spoke of him, and that's John 12 and 41. Right? And yeah, you had those visions. Let's look at Isaiah 63 and things like that. A lot of it is about Yahushua. So the man Isaiah, he was a prophet of the southern kingdom Judah at the time, and the kingdom Israel was destroyed by the Syrians. Isaiah lived in the reigns of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, right? Which is afterwards. So you got, let's see here, Uzziah, Jotham. Hold on. Yeah. So as Uzziah was 787 to 735, right? They have Jotham 749 to 734. They have Ahaz 741 to 726, right? And then let's see here. This is Jotham. You have Ahaz, and then you have where's Hezekiah? Okay, 726 to 697. So then you have the end of the Northern Kingdom, which came about 721 BC. So he was around before the Northern Kingdom was taken out. So he was around before then with Judah, doing all their nonsense. In this book here, Halley's Bible handbook, they got a list of them, and they'll tell you if they were good or not. So yeah, Isaiah was good, Jotham was good, Ahaz was wicked, Hezekiah was the best, and then after Hezekiah you get Manasseh, and he was the worst. They have here 194 of the Halley's Bible handbook. But back to where we were at 285, and I'm not going to read too long here so we can get into this. His call wasn't the year of Uzziah's death, but some of his visions may have been earlier. See Isaiah 6 and 1. He was slain according to Jewish tradition by Manasseh. Tentatively, we may place his active ministry to about 745 to 695 BC, which that may be something that we passed on to Amalek. We passed that on, and they got their hands on it. They maybe found some records back then, and somehow they got their hands on that information. But they were converts and stuff going all the way back to John and Canis. So very possible we passed stuff on to them, and then things kind of stuck with things and kept it. Who knows, man. All I know is that they somehow got their hand on it, and then they started doing weird stuff. Rabbinic tradition has it that Isaiah's father Amos, not Amos the prophet, was a brother of King Amaziah. This would make Isaiah the first cousin to King Uzziah, but this is rabbinic tradition, so we don't know if that's actually true or not. And grandson of King Joash, and thus of royal blood, a man of the palace. So no way to really know if it's true, right? And then we don't really Oh yeah. We'll read this. He's quoted in the New Testament more than any other prophet, and well, that's the answer to my question. I think I asked that which prophet is quoted the most in the New Testament. It's Isaiah. I figured that because you read, just read through it, and you just hear him to say the prophet Isaiah, or you just read something that says, "Oh, that's quoted by Isaiah." I remember reading that. So that's that. The rest we don't need to read. We're not going to go do a deep dive on the prophet Isaiah here. We're just going to get into the chapter. So the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. This is after the split. Look at was it 1 Kings 11? Look around there, and you'll find about the split. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. What is the children? The children is the nation of Israel. It's talking about us, right? And the Lord nourished us and brought us up. Remember, he got us out of the land of Egypt. Look at the Passover. He always had our back. He helped us while we were in the desert. He gave us food. He gave us water while we were spending 40 years in the wilderness and in the desert. Pretty much roaming around. Pretty much a trip that takes 13 days on foot took us 40 years because we were going off and had to go here and stop and then go here and stop, and they were just going way the hell off. So that's pretty much what went down there. Right, and he rebelled against me because that's what happened around in that time. The kings were turning, performing idol worship. They're going way the hell off, and that's why in Hezekiah's time, kings such as him, they would do like reforms. Not every king did reforms. Some of them were just like crazy wicked and were just way into the idolatry stuff. But some of them would try to say, all right, we're gonna put this stuff away. We're gonna stop. The Northern Kingdom was fucked up too, man. They were like assassinating each other. They were burning. I remember one guy, I think, like he lit his house on fire, or someone lit his house on fire, and he died inside a burning house. Like fucking brutal, dude. But that's all judgment for the idolatry stuff that they were doing. It goes all the way back to Jeroboam. In the golden calf. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. Right. NLT. Even an ox knows his owner, and a donkey recognizes his master's care. Right, but Israel doesn't know its master. My people don't recognize my care for them. So, the point is, my people. The Lord claims us. We're the Lord's people. We're the chosen people. So that's another one you can use, along with your, Deuteronomy 7. We're special people unto the Lord. This is an extra one that you can, have out there in your back pocket, because that's the main question. Sometimes people say, oh, well, yeah, maybe you are the people, right? But it's about everyone. It's not just about the nation of Israel, which I find that funny. It's almost like you're admitting that we are the people, but, your whole thing is that we're not accepting of other people too, which is, silly, because the Lord is coming to save the nation of Israel. Not you other nations. The other nations have nothing to do with us. You have nothing to do with this. Right? So our people, they don't know its master. My people don't recognize my care for them. Right? They don't consider the Lord's care, the Lord's mercy, and his kindness. They don't consider it. They don't care. You can go more into that word consider. You probably find a little bit more. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters, they are forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They have gone away backward. Right? Oh, what a sinful nation they are, loaded down with a burden of guilt. They are evil people, corrupt children who have rejected the Lord. They have despised the Holy One of Israel and turned their backs on him. Exactly. And as I said before, that's what's going down, with our people, before then, And you always had little pockets of people doing that stuff too. Let's see here. I remember, I think it said one of them wasn't so good. Yeah, the king before him, Ahaz, was wicked, So in those times, we go take a look and see, get a little reminder about Ahaz if we can. Let's see if we can find something on Ahaz. If it takes too long, I'll, hold on. Actually, let me just pause it so you don't have to wait for this. Okay, so I just looked up a random kind of website here. This is inspiredscripture.com. 2 Chronicles chapter 28, right? Ahaz rebelled against God and sacrificed to the Syrian gods because he trusted in idols. Ahaz did not merely build a pagan altar to curry the favor of the Syrian king. Instead, this was a voluntary act that showed his misguided belief that the Syrian gods had saved him. Oh man, I gotta go back into the Book of Kings again, man. But yeah, you can go read up on that for yourself. 2 Kings 16 and 2 Chronicles 28. So yeah, they were wild. Alright, so this is Isaiah 1 and 5. Why should you be stricken anymore? You revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. Right? So you see here, so this is how we were stricken. We were stricken through slavery. I know the kingdom brothers, when Edomites came over here, they, conquered them and put them in subjection. They fucked them up really bad. They committed genocide on them, tortured our people to death, essentially. And then they brought the southern kingdom down there to serve bondage and work. And they were tortured and fucking murdered and, enslaved and tortured. That's really what it was. It was torture. Work them day and night, give them a little time to sleep, give them scraps. It was torture, right? Now, back then, we were stricken because, we were basically having to give, money to the Syrians and things like that, And it was Hezekiah pretty much this time. It was like, all right, fuck that, like fuck that. We're not doing that no more, And then, later on you have a whole thing with Sennacherib, and the Lord actually saved them out of it. Saved the nation, Judah and Jerusalem from that. Right, you vote more and more, right? If you apply it to nowadays, right? It has implications back then, because you read more, our people were hypocrites, and they weren't, they were fucking the people over, they were screwing the people over and stuff. They weren't defending the powerless. They weren't being good leaders, But if you apply it to this day now, pretty much all the sins our people do, the whole heart faint, and the whole head is sick and the whole heart faint, is pretty much talking about how our people are basically sick in the head, and they still choose to serve their oppressors, and our people are just in a jacked up headspace, right? From the sole of the foot, even to the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises, and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment, right? So these are all the effects of slavery, the mental effects, that people have gone through the northern and southern kingdom, where people are all beat down, beat to shit, and stuff like that. And, they haven't been healed, and the reason why they haven't been healed is because they haven't turned to the scriptures, man. They haven't turned to the scriptures. Let me see if I can find where this is. No, do not close covenant. Yeah, so this is the book of Isaiah 28 and 12. To whom he said, this is the rest wherewith you may cause the way to rest, and this is the refreshing that yet they would not hear. All right, so this is the scriptures. This is what it is. This is the rest, right? But the word of the Lord was unto them, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken, right? Because it'd be a witness against them, essentially, right? We could go. What's this? Isaiah 28 and 13. Let me just get this on Bible Hub. I don't want to make this too long. Yeah. Yeah. NLT, so the Lord will spill out his message for them again, one line at a time, a little here and a little there, so that they will stumble and fall. They will be injured, entrapped, and captured. Yeah, so that's what it is. You know, the word of the Lord to them was them, precept on precept, right? To them. Yeah, that's what it is. I've heard brothers, you know, break it down different ways, you know, basically say, you know, that's the way that we break down the scriptures. We go line upon line, precept upon precept. That's really what it is. And it's just a witness against them. So yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying. I was reading through them, but it's pretty much what I was saying, you know. But if you look at it in another way, you say it's like towards the wicked. It's like line upon line, order on order, this, that, this, you know, because they're wicked and they don't want to listen. So it's just like, oh, order. All you do is tell me what to do, right? But, you know, the scriptures talk about how, you know, the laws are not grievous, you know, not grievous, you know. Your country is desolate, your cities are burned with fire, your land, strangers devour it, and your pleasance and is desolate as overthrown by strangers, right? Because in the time period back then, which, you know, here I'm going to get both sides to this, you know, as I said, this is history, but it's also prophecy, because, you know, our people basically going through the same thing now. So chapter 1, Ali's Bible Handbook, page 288. This frightful indictment seems to belong in the middle period of Hezekiah's reign, after the fall of the northern kingdom, when the Syrians invaded Judah and had carried away a large part of its population, Jerusalem alone being left, right? And that's verse 7 through 9, right? Hezekiah's reforms have barely scratched the surface of the rotten life of the people, but the dread Assyrian tornado was drawing ever closer and closer, but it made no difference. On with the dance. The diseased nation, instead of cleaning itself, only gave more meticulous attention to the camouflage of devotion to religious services. And yeah, that's that for now. Right, we'll read more as time goes on. Right, and this is another scripture that you can use about strangers being in our land. You can go to Joel 3 and things like that, and then here you go. Here's the precepts right there. Numbers 24 and 20, Esther 8:27, 8:17. I think there's one in Ezekiel 36 and 5, I believe, that talks about them being in our land. But back then, you know, they were pretty much jacking our people up. Syria was jacking our people up, and we were giving them tribute. We had to, you know, give them annual money and stuff like that. You know, so we weren't in a very good position. And his daughter Zion is left as a cottage in a vineyard, as a lodge in a garden of cucumbers, as a besieged city, right? And yeah, so our people are unprotected, you know. Let's see here. Yeah, because, you know, pretty much the Lord, you know, wasn't dealing with us, you know, because we were going off, you know, and things like that. And the scriptures talk about that, you know. Well, obviously Deuteronomy 28 and stuff like that, and man, there's so many more, you know. There's so many more you can get into, just, you know, curses, scriptures like that. But there's one I think that talks like literally turn his back. Let's see, I thought I read something. Let's see if I can find this, then I'll link it. Turn his back, turning back. If I married unto you, and if they have turned me to me the back and not the face. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. Turn unto me the back. Thought I saw something like that, but you know, just look at any curse scriptures that talks about the Lord is going to curse our people and jack them up, and I'll explain that to you. Right, and, you know, the daughter of Zion, you know, talking about, you know, the southern kingdom and all that. You know, sometimes daughters of Zion can mean like literal like woman. You know, other times it can mean, you know, the people as a whole and stuff like that. You know, so and things like that. It depends, woman, because, you know, sometimes the scriptures go into how the Lord's married unto us in a spiritual kind of way. we turn away from him, and you committed adultery, spiritual adultery, with the Lord, because it's poetic, we basically cheated on the Lord with these other gods, and he's using, worship as a metaphor and things like that. Except the Lord also led unto us a very small remnant. We should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah, and that little remnant was Jerusalem. Everything else was pretty much in bad shape, because Syrians, they did drag some Judites off, and capture them and things like that. And that's what also went down. There was multiple takeoffs, things like that, and draggings. I don't want to call it sieges, dragging aways and things like that. And then, the big one was Babylon. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom, and give unto a law, you people of Gomorrah, right? Which is a figure of speech, based that people were going off so much. We might as well have been the rulers of Sodom and Gomorrah. That tells you about the amount of sin they were doing, just in the time of Ahaz, into heavy idolatry in that time, so to what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifice unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fat beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or he-goats. When ye come to appear before me, who hath required this at your hand to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations and incense as abomination unto me. The new moon and the Sabbath is new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies I cannot away with, is iniquity, even the solemn assembly. Right? So let me see here. It is all noise. Let's see if I can find this. See here. It is all noise. It's all noise to me. Let's see if I can find this. Amos 5 away. Yeah, this is a book of Amos 5 and 23. Amos 5 and 22. Though you offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will guard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for now I hear the melody of thy vowels. But let judgment run down its waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. Right? And it's pretty much, we can actually read on down. Have you offered unto me sacrifice and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? But ye have borne the tabernacles of your Moloch and Cheon, your images, the star of your God, which you had made to yourself. Yeah, that's right. We weren't doing that. People had to stop and move around and stop and move around over and over and over again. But all that, if I'm correct, that was we were already in the land. Were we already in the land when we got the tabernacle? When was the tabernacle? Let's see here. I don't know if we were built. Let's see here, built. No, built in the wilderness. Never mind. It was basically a portable temple, but people were going off and things like that while we were in the wilderness, and he was still going off. So it's basically the same thing, exposing them for their hypocrisy, right? Man, where was I? Some meeting. Bring no more vain oblations, incenses, abomination to me, the new moons and Sabbaths, right? Isaiah 1 and 13. The calling of assemblies that cannot away with is iniquity, even a solemn meeting, right? Because they're not in the right spirit. In the new moons, which we know what the new moon is, when the moon is, ends a cycle and it pretty much begins a cycle. Don't ask me about, the whole astronomy of it. I don't really know. But pretty much the moon has restarts a cycle, and on that day, essentially from that sundown to next sundown is a new Sabbath, and we treat it as a Sabbath. We perform the Sabbath from the last moon cycle, and then we perform the new one, and then after we perform the new moon, the Sabbath of the month before is gone, and we pretty much take the other Sabbath that we got from the new moon, and we make that the new Sabbath, and then we worship that one, and we keep it, things like that. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth. They are trouble unto me. I'm weary to bear them, right? Because of people going off. When you spread forth your hands, I'll hide my eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood, right? And that's how we prayed back then, spread our hands and things like that. You're supposed to look up, up to the Lord and things like that. Get on your knees. You're supposed to be on your knees and stuff like that. And, you can also pray standing, but I've heard brothers say it's actually better. You make sure you get on the ground and pray, because then that shows total submission and humility unto the Lord. I think these other nations, they say, oh, get on your knees, on your knees, because it shows submission unto the king. And then also think about the police. They say, oh, get on your knees, right? Because then that represents that you're like no threat and you're not harming them, which is a different thing altogether. I'm just saying in general, when you're on your knees, it defends, it shows, like, I guess you would say, vulnerability and stuff like that, and compliance and things like that, right? Wash you, would make you clean, put away the evil of thy doings before my eyes, cease to do evil, learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow, which is what our people were doing, because if they did, then the Lord wouldn't, get on their case about it, right? And you can go ahead and get this, because the same thing that was going on in Isaiah's day, applying it to today is the same thing that goes on with us in the Christian churches. They're not doing the right thing. They basically show a cover of works, but in reality they're all fucked up. Within these churches you have fucking pedophiles and rapists and shit like that. And I know I've heard some shit, even at the church that I used to go to. I've heard shit, and they basically keep shit quiet to try and not make a scene. Fucking wild shit that goes on with the churches. And the Catholic Church is the same thing. Matthew 23:1, then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Right? Absolutely. Right? Which, the whole priesthood, they weren't all priests, right? But that was pretty much to be a continuation of that. They were supposed to be a continuation of Moses's ideals, and pretty much Moses in general is supposed to be a continuation, successor to him. That's why you had priesthood and things like that. They're all supposed to be like Moses, but in time, people were being more focused with money and trinkets, and for traditions of men, and they basically got off the beaten path. They got more about orders and ordering people around, and less about just keeping it to the fundamentals, worshiping the Lord, doing good, and things like that. Verse 3, all therefore whatsoever they bid you, observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. Exactly. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries, and enlarge the borders of their garments, right? And the phylacteries, if I can remember, piece of parchment, and you have written on the passages of the laws of Moses, and it was a lead strap on the forehead, and you see him if you ever go upstate, Amalek, because he's following our stuff. You'll see him out there if you go upstate, around the times where they celebrate their tabernacle booths, and you go upstate, you'll see them. They have like little booths and stuff like that, and they'll have them on, which I assume it's their tabernacle booths. Maybe it's just them on like a getaway retreat or something. Either way, they're not the real people, and the Lord ain't dealing with them. But you can look it up and you can see what I mean, of how it looks like and stuff like that, right? And so people more about appearances, as scriptures talk about that too. You praying in public and things like that. They love the uppermost rooms at feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues, right? They love the glory and the money and the rich, And greetings in the rabbi, and greetings in the market, and to be called the men rabbi, rabbi. Which is pretty much teacher. But be not ye called rabbi, for one is your master, even Yahushua Mashiach, and all ye are brethren. Right? Call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your father, which is in heaven. Right? Not in reference to your biological father, but rather to make someone equal to the Most High, i.e. the Pope. So don't call any man your father. Say that this man, is like the father, like you see here, like the Pope. Don't make anyone equal to the Most High. That's pretty much what you're saying. Don't make anyone equal to the Most High. Neither be called master, for one is your master, even Yahushua Mashiach. And he that hath grace among you shall be your servant. Which it is, because, that still passes on with GMS, because anyone at the top, the elders, they'll answer questions in the comment section. Right now, they don't have to do that. They could just say, "Oh man, I ain't answering that." I have someone else answer you. But I've seen them. They'll do videos off of comment board question. They have that humility. So that's what they serve us. And things like that. And of course, Great Millstone to help brothers out. They're a big camp. Anyone's in low standing, the elder brothers will help younger brothers out, and everyone helps each other out. Beautiful thing. So that's that, right? That's pretty much the same thing that Yahushua was dealing with. It's the same thing. It's over and over and over. Nothing's new under the sun. That scripture says, basically. Right. Isaiah 1:18. Come now, let's reason together. Saith the Lord. Their sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Alright, so pretty much our sins are, like blots before us. They're like skin, they're like, scarlet, and it's, like you could see it easily. Right, when someone, like, say if you wear a white shirt, you get some scarlet on it. It's wide open. You can see it. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find where it is. Sins are Sodom, they hide it not. Yeah, so this is Isaiah 3:9. To show their countenance doth witness against them, they declare the sin of Sodom, they hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have awarded evil unto themselves. Right, so that's your precept for that. Hold on. We can honestly just do that real quick. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna, do the same thing in my actual physical scriptures. So we have them in multiple places, so there's no mishaps, there's no screw ups. Just go into it, and someone has a question about something, or if I need a quick rebuke, you just go bam right there and give it to them. So that was that. Now we need to find white. And we need to go to like Revelation for the white. Right? White upon horses, white horse. Right? Revelation 19:8. Unto her was granted. Okay, Revelation 19:7. Let's be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come. His wife had made herself ready. It's pretty much like being married to Yahushua, being of one mind with Yahushua. Not actual. Okay, never mind. You get the point. It's a figure of speech. Don't be simple and think of something else. It's just us being of one mind with Yahushua, being perfect, having the new bodies, right? Revelation 19:8, right? Other times talk about the marriage of the Most High and us and things like that, and then other times it calls Yahushua the bridegroom, but ultimately, us being married with Yahushua is the same as being married with the Lord Yahweh, because Yahushua does what Yahweh tells him to. They have one accord. Scripture talks about that. They have one mind, right? Verse 8. Now to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for fine linen is righteousness of saints, right? This would be paired for the bridegroom, right? Yahushua. Saints are Israelites, right? And then white, glow, which represents righteousness, right? So that was pretty much that, right? Let's see here. Oh, never mind. The bridegroom is a man who's about to be married. Never mind. Never mind. I actually did not know that. Whoops. So yeah, it was always Yahushua. It was always being married to Yahushua. But I thought I read other stuff that said be married to the Lord. Basically one mind to the Lord. But, that was that. White represents righteousness. And wool is obviously white. If you be willing and obedient, you shall eat of the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you should be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. Right? Back then, literally, like Syria, I'm going to bring a nation down to, jack your stuff up if you refuse and rebel. Right? But, in our time now, you'll be devoured with the sword of the Syrians. Modern day Syrians, which is America. What am I saying? How has a faithful city become an harlot? It was full of judgment, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers, right? Because of all the idolatry and all the, sacrifices and all the stuff that they were doing, And in some cases, they were literally killing each other, man. Like they were on some different stuff, man. Right? Their silver has become dross, their wine is mixed with water, right? Their princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Everyone loves gifts and fall after rewards. They judge not the fatherless, neither the cause of the widow come unto them. So they were ignoring the people. They weren't doing right. Right? They were companions of thieves, so they would join up with people, that were evil and wicked. Like were thieves, stealer. So, they were companions of thieves, joining up with evildoers and criminals. Right? Therefore saith the Lord God, the Lord of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of my adversaries and avenge me of mine enemies. Right, the Lord will avenge himself. And I'll turn my hand upon thee, purge away thy dross, and take away all thy tin. Let's see here. Right, smelting, pretty much purge you. And I restore thy judges at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Right? Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, her converts with righteousness. You go into the word converts is shawah, which means to turn back, which pretty much means, the people that repented. This is going to happen in the kingdom. Our people, you start with the elect, we're going to turn back and they'll be right. We'll be purged as a people and we'll be, righteous, we'll be correct, right? As you were supposed to be from the beginning, right? And the destruction of the transgression of the sinner shall be together, and they that forsake the Lord shall be consumed. Right? So, yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory. And that destruction of the transgression of the sinners, it's going to come at this time via ICBMs. Right? And, man, I am really talking for a while here, but, this is what it takes to give you a full-on breakdown, so Ephesians 5 and 6, let no man deceive you with vain words, for because these things cometh the wrath of the Most High upon the children of disobedience. Right, so that's the wrath of the Most High is for the children of disobedience, which is the same as 2/3. Right, neither forsake the Lord shall be consumed. Verse 29, for they shall be ashamed of the oaks which ye have desired, and ye shall be confounded for the gardens that ye have chosen. Right, you shall be confounded of, the idols and things that you've chosen. You should be ashamed of them, and let's see here, some to everlasting, let's see, some to everlasting, let's see what that is. Yeah, right. Same time everyone has written the book, right? So Daniel 11, see what it says here, to Ezekiel 36 and 31. Yeah, Ezekiel 30. So this is Daniel 12:12. Many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame, and some to contempt. Right, and this is talking about our people, right? Yeah, really, all of us shall be saved. So everyone's gonna be back in the kingdom, right? But some are just gonna, not gonna die on this side, but others are gonna have, they still deal with the shame and contempt of what they did in their past lives while they were, on earth. They'll say, "Oh man, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to get on your case like that." And in those days, I'll of course forgive you, man. Move on, because now you're right. So, right, and then that's gonna be happen when our people get together in our right. And of course, we went through this phase already. Being ashamed of the things that we did in this life. We've gone through that stage. That's how you repent. You have to acknowledge your fault and say, like, okay, I'm actually wrong here. That's why it says, turn back and be righteous. Get it together. Essentially, you have to be like, what I've been doing here is fucked up. So if you should be so oak whose leaf fadeth and has a garden hath no water. So like a garden is big thing, but it's all withered, withered away. So pretty much you're gonna be like a withered people, which is basically what eventually happened to our people. Our people got snatched up by Babylon. They got snatched up. And then captivity after captivity, and then in our time now, our people are just ultimately just ruined, man. Like we're withered as a people. People look at us, they say, "Oh, you guys have no stability within your culture," and we don't even have loyalty. Like these other nations, they're able to get up in here, and they'll work together. Even if it's like 5 of them in a house, they'll work together and they'll get it together, and then they'll all spread out, eventually make a bunch of money, and then they'll all get their own separate houses. That's what these other nations be doing. They stick together and they work together. But Jake, you can't do that with Jake, man. Jake is just too wicked. Jake is just, you try to do someone money with Jake, they'll take your money and dip out. Can't work with Jake. And the strong shall be his toe, and the strong could be also means rich or powerful. Should be his toe, and the maker of it a spark, and they shall burn together, and none shall quench them. So pretty much their own works is going to be a spark that makes them burn, right? So all the idolatry and all the stuff that they were doing, all the murders, all the stealing, right? All the stuff that they were doing back then, and all the fake, acting religious, and their false devotion, with Hezekiah. And in that time, that is going to be their own undoing, their failure to actually get right. And that's going to lead to them getting burnt up together, and getting jacked up. In one case, but we know in these times now, they will literally be burnt up. And you got to look at like 2 Peter 3, the elements shall melt, offer and heat. So, and it's the same principle today. Basically, our people, what's going to be the undoing of our people is going to be their own works. So what are the stuff that our people is doing, the stuff our people are doing is going to lead to their own destruction. Their own works will lead to their own destruction, and their own works is a witness against them, like we just got in Isaiah 3 and 9. So that was pretty much it. This is all Isaiah 1. I decided, we'll just come in and do like a quick chapter. I don't know if I'm gonna do a chapter a day. I don't know, but I think just something good to do, keep me accountable and things like that. So that's pretty much it, Shalom.